Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name is Ryan. I'm very excited today because I get to try. This is the Ancient Cave Collection from Ben Holladay, a very special release. If you're not familiar with this series, it's sort of their experimental series. So it only comes in these 375 milliliter bottles, which are actually kind of cool. They kind of look like a maple syrup jug. It's got a little handle and everything. But the whole thing about the Ancient Cave Collection is that there's a building that is the oldest building, the oldest structure on their property. I think it dates back to the mid 1800s. Yeah, website says 1837, and they sort of renovated it to have like 72 ricks where they could store experimental barrels, where they're doing all kinds of different barrel experiments, basically. And this is the latest one of those experiments. So what they're doing is they're taking their original bourbon mash bill, that 1856 original mash bill, they're aging it in their standard warehouses. This one was aged for 7 years and 5 months, so about 7.5 years. That mash bill, by the way, is 73% corn, 15% rye, 12% malted barley. And then what they did is they then dumped those barrels for this batch after 7.5 years, and they rebarreled them into smoked hickory barrels. Kind of interesting. American oak hickory smoked. Okay, so I'm down to try it. We'll see if it's any good. You know, there's a lot of different barrel aging experiments going on these days. People are trying to find, like, what's the next thing in the finishing series. Now, I feel like 2 years ago was the big, I think it was, 2023 was like the big Amberana year. Everyone was doing Amberana. Like, what's the next big finishing barrel going to be? Last year, some people tried, like, tequila barrels, and I don't think that went over quite as well. But we'll see how hickory smoked is. This is at 100 proof. I think the goal here is to really let the secondary barrel shine. So they don't want to go like full-blown cask strength with it. Let's get in here on the nose, huh? I mean, it definitely has that distinct Ben Holladay Bourbon vibe on the nose. The Whiskey Lore bottle from last year made my top 10 of the year. So Ben Holladay's bourbon has impressed me in the past. So I'm definitely getting some of those same like cherry cola notes, some stewed corn on the nose as well, but undeniably, I mean, it is very prevalent on the nose, that hickory smoke. You know, I'm not really a fancy guy when it comes to jerky. You know, a lot of people there's tons of different flavors of jerky these days. But I'm like, just give me that hickory smoked, because the hickory smoke, in my opinion, is subtle smokiness that lets the meat shine. And I feel like the nose of this is sort of the same vibe, where it's like the hickory's there to enhance the bourbon. It's not there to overshadow it or to be the predominant note. It's just there to sort of enhance it all, you know what I'm saying? So I'm definitely getting like campfire smoke off the nose of this as well. We do a lot of fires in the fall here. We've got like a nice fire pit. We invite neighbors over and their kids, and they all play in the backyard while the adults sit around the fire. I'll pull out a couple of bottles of whiskey and share them with anyone that wants them. And we just sit around and hang out and chat, eat some s'mores and stuff too. And this takes me to that Midwest bonfire nights in the fall. Grabbing a fresh log off of the pile and tossing it in. Yeah. But I can't get that like smoky jerky note out of my mind either. Just kind of fun. There is like a savory component to it, which I love. Sweet and savory together is a great combo. I'm getting that sweet stewed corn of the bourbon, but I'm also thinking like bacon fat for some reason. What a great nose. Let's try it. Cheers. Hey baby, what's up?
Something for you.
What you got? Oh, look at this. Oh, thank you so much for the thank you note, right?
No problem. I thought you liked the doggy.
Look at this, super duper cute. Love you too, sweetheart. Not trying to brag, but I just got a little handmade thank you note from my daughter because she forgot her book today and she needed it for reading day at school, so I had to drop it off at school. So she was thoughtful and wrote me a little thank you note with a puppy sticker inside. Get wrecked. Anyways, back to the sip. So, I will say this. My initial impression is that, man, I kind of wish we had maybe 5 or 10 more proof points, 105, 110 maybe for the proof. And I know what they're doing here is they really want that barrel to shine, and it does. But here's what my issue is, that with the nose, I was getting some of that stewed corn and a little bit of that cherry cola, but I'm not getting much of that on the palate. I'm getting a ton of that hickory smoke on the palate itself. Let me go in for sip number 2. There's a little bit of like candy sweetness that makes me think of like maple candies. We've got tons of sugar shacks here in West Michigan. Lots of farmers make their own homemade maple syrups and maple candies. And they literally have shacks out near the road. So if you're driving through the country here in West Michigan, a lot of times you'll just see handwritten signs. You'll pull over to the side of the road on a country road to where there's a shack, and an old farming couple selling maple candies out of this shack. We call them sugar shacks. This makes me think of like homemade maple candies, and it's got that kind of a sweetness to it. But it doesn't have that bassy stewed corn, and I'm missing out on that cherry cola note. But I am getting a ton of that nice savory hickory as well. It's a really pleasant sip, and I do like it quite a bit. I definitely think there's some potential here for a pretty cool product, but maybe refine it a little bit more. Especially if you've got decent age on this bourbon at 7.5 years old, basically. I wish the bourbon itself was able to just shine through a little bit more and having the palate be less just hickory. You know what I'm saying? If the bourbon and the hickory were more in sync with one another, more harmonious, I think this would be a much more complete sip, and I think it would actually be pretty good. That being said, it's still not bad at all. I like that hickory note. I think there's some serious potential there. I wouldn't mind seeing them refine this just a little bit, actually. No, it's pretty good. Hey, Ben Holladay, maybe don't chuck this one to the side. Maybe workshop that a bit, because I think there's some potential there for a really cool bottle. Big shout out to Mikey, who procured that bottle for me, by the way. Appreciate you, brother. And that is the Ancient Cave Collection 2025 Hickory Smoked 100 proof. Cool. That was neat. I like every now and then having a bourbon that's just memorable, or a whiskey that's just like a unique experience. You know what I'm saying? This has definitely been one of those, and I appreciate that. Hey, thanks so much for tuning into the video today. Oh, I should probably give this thing a score. Let me do that real quick. Let me give it a score per my scale. I'm like right at that 6.9, 7.0 breaking point, because I think it's a maybe buy, because you certainly might not be into this experience, right? Anytime you get something that's a little bit offbeat like that, a lot of people could fall off the log either way and be like, that's not really my thing. And so I respect that. I think this is definitely a unique experience that might not be for everybody. Personally, I fall off the side of the log saying, hey, I like this. So I'm going to give it a flat 7.0 and say, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. I like that. And with that, I say thank you so much for tuning into the video today. I appreciate each and every one of you. If you would like to join our community on Discord, totally free to do so. If had some new faces in there recently. Nice to get to know some of you guys as well. I just got back from vacation, so I've been a little bit less present there, but now I'm back and in the full swing of things. So excited to meet some of you guys. That's totally free. Link is in the description. We also have a Patreon lounge where we handle events that we do, including things like bottle shares. We're just starting to get moving on our first bottle share of 2025. So if you want to get involved in that, make sure you join the Patreon group, which is the base tier is just $1. It's $1. It's basically free. And that gives you access to the lounge, and you can see what things we're doing. With that, I say cheers, my friends. Ooh, that was loud. May you live richly and get better with age. And I hope to catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.